Hey guys, I'm the Black Pearl and welcome to the latest episode of My Future, My Career.
And I am Zola. My Future, My Career is proudly brought to you by Nedbank.
Yes, this Nedbank initiative is aimed at equipping you with tools to make informed choices when it comes to choosing your career.
So what are we going to do, Paul? Well, we'll take an in-depth look at different careers, what they entail, and chat to industry experts in different career fields.
Now, we live in houses and apartments, right? We work in office blocks and business parks. We shop in supermarkets and malls. All day long, we walk in and out of different types of property, yes?
Yes, Pearl, we indeed do that. And because property is so important to our lives, it is usually very valuable. After all, everyone needs a roof over their heads.
Yes, I know I do. I will not be living in the streets. So today we're going to find out how you could get a job in property either by buying it, selling it, renting it, developing it, managing it, or even building it.
Yeah, boy. It is a very exciting sector of our economy and it keeps on growing every year.
Yes.
So let's find out if a career in property might give you a firm foundation for the future.
Firm foundation for the future. Now you're about to meet some amazing people. Stay tuned. Do you have big dreams of pursuing your ideal career but don't have the financial means?
Well, check out the bursary info in your booklet to find out the many ways in which you can get funds to study.
Are you ready for this, Zola?
I'm ready, bro.
Let's go straight into it.
Check it out.
Hello, my name is Mike Brown and I'm the CEO or Chief Executive Officer of Nedbank. And I'm here today to talk to you about careers. Selecting a career for yourself can be a very confusing process. Now that you are in secondary school, you are expected to begin carving a path for your future. The difficulty is that at this point in your life, some of you might not have enough information or experience to make the right choice, and careers themselves are changing rapidly as technology evolves. I was fortunate enough to pursue a career I felt passionately about, but I was in a way lucky to start down the right path. Influenced more by what some friends were doing and what my parents thought than through any formal career guidance. After school, I completed a Bachelor of Commerce degree, followed by a diploma in accountancy, and finally qualified as a chartered accountant with Deloitte in the early 1990s. After 17 years in the banking industry, I have achieved a milestone in my career, to have the privilege of leading a proud organization that traces its history back to the 1830s. I say fortunate because I believe that I am the exception, not the rule. To help you become the exception and not the rule, we have launched the My Future, My Career initiative. Through a series of interviews with industry professionals and educational specialists, we hope to paint a clear picture of a wide range of careers available to you, so you don't just follow your friends like I did. To complement the series, we will also be providing each of you with a booklet containing national curriculum information, career information, places to study, and bursary information. These tools will assist you in making an informed choice that will point you in the right direction to match your skills, aptitudes, and passions to market opportunities and get you started on your selected path. Nedbank's slogan is "Make things happen." This applies not only to the bank, but to each of you in your own lives. So use the valuable information you will receive today to plan out your own future and make it happen. If you plan carefully, set goals for yourself, and then work hard to achieve these, you can be anything you want to be. Take every opportunity you have and don't be afraid to be ambitious. Who knows, you may even be the CEO of Nedbank one day, or maybe you have already set your goals even higher.
You may have heard the term property developer and thought, now that sounds exciting because it sounds like it's got money. Well, here to give us the inside track are Anthony Dippenbroek and Sitembiso Mthembu, both from Heartland Properties.
Anthony has a BSc in Civil Engineering, Masters in Business Administration, and is a professional engineer. He joined AECI as Managing Director of Heartland and as an AECI Executive Committee member in 2008.
Sitembiso is a 31-year-old project manager with 10 years project management experience, mostly in the property development sector.
Wow, what an intro. I mean, I wish I could have studied more at school.
Told you to study, my boy. I told you. But it's all right. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Now, both of you guys work for a development company named Heartland. What is property development? I'll start with Anthony.
Well, basically it starts right from creating a vision, creating a new town. So you really start right at the bottom. Land needs to have water in it, it needs to have roads going to it. So you're really starting from the whole planning of the roads, the water, the sewerage, everything, right up until you eventually move in as a resident, or you move in as an office worker, or you move in as a factory worker. And all of those aspects are involved in property development.
So do you only develop properties on empty land, or do you also develop existing properties?
We do both. We started, originally there was a factory in Modderfontein, and we also operate down in the Western Cape, originally where there was a factory. So we take away the factory, demolish the factory, or there's parts of land that the factory doesn't use anymore. And then on other aspects of it, there are buildings that we in fact build the building from the ground up, and then we manage the building as property managers or as facilities managers. So effectively, we start with a thing that says, piece of land needs to have services, build a building on top of it, and then we actually do that over and over again.
Now, what is the difference between industrial, commercial, and retail properties?
Well, an industrial property is where a person works. A retail property is where you go and shop, get some retail therapy, and a office property is where office workers work.
Sitembiso, on to you now. You work as a project manager for Heartland. Can you tell us more about what you do?
Well, in essence, I think my core function is ensuring that the project moves from concept to actually realization and full-on complete development. So I work with a professional team, and I have to manage that professional team and manage the development cycle and the processes that are involved in rolling out to development. Yeah, in essence, that's what I do. The most important thing is that I have to complete a project on time and within budget.
So you're on the ground making the wheels turn.
That's correct, in essence.
Let's tap into your background. I mean, how did you get to where you are now?
I started off, as you said earlier, studying accounting.
Yeah.
But I actually realized that accounting was not for me, so I moved on into construction.
Yeah.
My basic training was actually with a company called Tonga Tulip Developments, where I was trained into a project manager. And it was during my career where I actually obtained my qualification in project management.
Yeah.
But I think for a person to be in this career, you have to have a built environment qualification, which could either be engineering like Anthony, quantity survey, architecture, and so on and so forth.
Tell us about your most memorable projects.
Most difficult project I've ever had to do.
Oh, is that the most memorable one? Because it was difficult.
That's right, yeah. Was a precinct called Precinct 3. It's down in Umhlanga Ridge in Durban, directly opposite the Gateway Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
In essence, it was 9 buildings, which were virtually all interlinked. Yeah, so it's in a Joburg scenario, it would be like a Melrose Arch. So it was quite difficult getting all the buildings, which were built by 9 different developers, to be coordinated and built and completed and work from a fire perspective, from a security perspective, from a circulation perspective, and so on.
Wow, sounds like a nightmare. No, I know why it's the most memorable.
Why are you doing this? Now back at you, Anthony. I mean, property developing, it sounds like a big, big job, and it needs a lot of people to work on it. So what type of jobs are available?
There's no defined job that defines property development as such. I suppose the best question to ask is what type of person would go into property development. So it's really, if you're thinking about somebody that's at school and they define what type of thing they do, it's the person who wants to know what makes things work. very much so. The person who's got a creative side, because he always wants to see, can I do it differently? Because no two buildings are the same. And then somebody who wants to be in business. He's excited about building something new, something you drive past, but something you look at. We deal with the people that are going to be the occupiers of the building, so that's a whole range of people.
Yeah.
We deal with a lot of professional people, like Sitembiso said earlier. So you would have a quantity surveyor, you would have an engineer, you would have somebody who's a town planner. So there's a whole range of those type of careers that you can go into. But really, when you come back to the essence of it, what type of person goes into that? It's not a person that wants to do the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about property development and a career in property, is every building's different, every site is different, every new opportunity to do something is a different opportunity, and it's an opportunity that you can one day drive past and say, oh, I built that building.
Yeah.
That's something really special. But really, people come, there's no specific property qualification. Just that's like Sitembiso came from a different background to myself. Some backgrounds tend to lead more into the finance side, others more into the engineering side, others more into the planning side. But you need all of those people.
Anthony, you mentioned that there isn't a specific qualification that you need to get in order to be a property developer. But which qualifications are actually useful if you want to get into the industry?
I would say that if you wanted to get into the industry, you've got to either go in through a hard technical side, which is an engineering side, which is, as Sitembiso referred to, the built environment type of thing, an architect or an engineer or a quantity surveyor. That's the hard technical side. But then you're going to find, as you move on in your career, that you want to understand more about the financial. So you'll do that as a second qualification, or you'll do that on the job training. Or you will go in on the financial and commercial side, knowing all about the money and how things work on the money, and then suddenly discover, well, you want to understand more about those more technical things.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, because it's a career that has legs. It can continue. You don't get stuck into one job and say, oh, well, I'm going to do this job for the next 30 years of my life, which doesn't excite everybody.
Yeah. Sitembiso, I want to know, so do you build the properties or do you work with outside construction companies?
Well, in essence, as I said earlier, we work with a professional team. That professional team includes various other participants.
Yeah.
And those are contractors as well. So as a project manager, I do not actually physically build everything myself, but I manage a team that builds everything, or that actually delivers their project as it has been designed.
So you tell everyone else what else to do?
Not really. Nobody ever listens to me, you see.
Now, I'd like to know, do you need to know anything about construction or architecture, or do you hire in specialists to do that?
Well, we've got a full team. You've got an engineer, you've got an architect, you've got a quantity surveyor, you've got an experienced contractor on board. However, you always need to have an understanding of the product so that you can manage it effectively. Without that understanding, obviously, it will be pretty difficult to manage everybody.
So as a project manager, do you also manage budgets?
Of course, you'd have to. As a project manager, you're responsible for the full-on project. That would be the costs, the actual implementation, and delivery of the project.
Anthony, is this a rewarding career, and do you feel like you're making a difference in people's lives and in communities?
Definitely. If you look at, take one of what I would regard as one of the most successful projects that we've been involved in, you look at it afterwards, you can measure what is rewarding in terms of what you get paid. That's okay. But you also, what is rewarding is in terms of being able to look at something, drive past Greenstone Mall and Greenstone, the whole development, which is 3,000 houses, and look at that and say, that was a piece of felt that didn't have road access, didn't have services, didn't have people living there, a couple of cows, one or two trees. And you look at it now, 5 years later, it's got 3,000 houses, probably in the region of 7,000 or 8,000 people live there. It's got a shopping center on it. Is that rewarding? I suppose you define your life as you get older. And what did I do that made a difference? Well, I think that made a difference, and that's really what I get huge stimulus from.
Nice.
Now, to the students watching right now, before we go to STEMBI, so I'd like to know any advice to them if they want to enter the property development sector?
I think generally, as a background, virtually the whole team of people that work with me are very passionate about what they do. And there's a lot of people that are working through their careers and they really love what they do. There's not a defined work time. The work's got to get done. Very small teams, teams that differ all the time. So people that want to do something different all the time and want to be excited about what they do. I think you should ask Tembezo if he's actually excited about what he does. I certainly believe he is.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Very much so.
And what advice do you have for the learners watching that want to get into project management?
Sure. I'm not good with advice, but I would say, yeah, let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy it because you make a difference in people's lives just because of what you deliver. I've worked on a wide spectrum of projects. I've worked on low-cost housing projects. And it's actually quite special when you actually give somebody a key to a house who's been living in a shack for years. So it is fulfilling personally for me. It's also quite enjoyable. You can take your kids around there in 50 years' time and say, hey, I built that.
Yeah.
So just the returns are good. From a personal perspective. They're not too bad from a financial perspective. So yeah, it's enjoyable. Kids who want to get into it, I'd say stay in school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Now, let's see if you can solve this.
It's quite a tricky one, Zola. Listen very carefully. I hope you're ready for this one. If a red house is made from red bricks, a blue house is made from blue bricks, a yellow house is made from yellow bricks.
Then, what is a greenhouse made from?
The first thing that comes to mind right now is, it's made from green bricks. Hello. Oh, that's the incorrect answer. The correct answer coming up just a little later.
Now, let's meet Vuso Majija and Thenjiwe Zondi, our incredible asset and mall management experts.
Vuso Majija has a national diploma in civil engineering and a Bachelor of Science with honors in property studies. He started his career as a trainee asset manager, and Zola, he's now a retail asset manager for Resilient Properties, where he manages a large portfolio of properties on behalf of the company's shareholders.
If you think that's amazing, listen to this. Thenjiwe Zondi is actually an accountant by training, but got into property management in 2008. She, too, started as a trainee asset manager and has worked her way up to being the center manager for Jabulani Mall in my hood, Soweto. Thenjiwe is focused and ambitious and believes that success doesn't depend on gender, race, or age. You just have to go for it.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jane. I'm going to start with you, Vuso. You are an asset manager for a property loan stock company that's listed on the JSE called Resilient. What exactly is an asset manager?
A property asset manager gets involved with managing a portfolio of buildings. Basically, what we do, we buy buildings and we rent them out to tenants.
Yeah.
Now, we get our return from the rental that we get from the tenants. So if we get a property at a good price and we get good rentals from our tenants, we get a good return. We generally hold our properties for a long time. So what we need to do, we need to ensure that they're maintained properly at all times and that they adapt to the ever-changing tenant requirements and market conditions. That's basically asset management.
Now, do you manage one property at a time, or do you have a number of properties that you look after?
Currently, I manage 5 buildings with a value of just under 1 billion rands. These buildings, 1 is in Soweto, 3 are in Secunda, and 1 is in a town called Standerton.
So are you responsible for the day-to-day runnings of these properties, and is it a stressful job?
Our managing agents or property managers are responsible for the day-to-day running of the buildings. But we work very closely with them because it's our properties at the end of the day, and we need to ensure that they are being well maintained. So we work closely with our property managers to manage them on a daily basis.
Now, do you get involved in the development phase, or do you just come there after the property has been built?
Yes, sometimes we do get involved in the development phase. We've got a number of buildings that we have developed. As I said earlier on, we tend to hold our properties for a long term. So we develop to hold. A lot of the other properties have been bought from other property owners and other property developers. The difference between a property developer and what we do is that property developers develop a building and then they sell it on to people like us. We tend to hold our properties for longer because for us it's the income that we get over the years that determines our return.
So now you've given us your job description and you've explained how everything actually works. But I feel like we need to trail it back a little bit, you know, how it all started. How did you get into asset management? Did you have to study?
I've always wanted to be in the property industry or the construction industry. So after matric, I enrolled for a diploma in civil engineering at the Cape Technikon, and then I worked for 1 year. And whilst I was working, UCT brought out a new degree called property studies, and I enrolled for that. So I spent 4 years studying firstly for the BSc, and then after the honors in property studies. And then after that, I started working for Resilient Properties in the industrial team as a trainee asset manager. And today I'm working as a retail asset manager for the same company.
Yeah, wow, nice one. Tenji, we'll bring it to you now. You manage a mall, a whole mall. You manage. What are your responsibilities as manager of Jabulani Mall in Soweto?
Yeah, well, basically, in a nutshell, my responsibility is to ensure that when a shopper goes to Jabulani Mall, they find themselves in a pleasant shopping environment. That entails that, you know what, I need to ensure that there are shops to buy from, the mall is clean, the mall is safe. Yeah, basically that's all about, you know, you walk in the mall, there are lights, everything is in a good working order. Basically, the environment is fun to shop around.
Now, it must be fun to work in the mall, but I'm sure there are challenging parts. So what are the most challenging aspects of your job?
Well, I would say the most challenge for me is to try and keep the balance between keeping everybody, all the stakeholders happy, being our tenants, the shoppers, and the landlord.
Nice. And what is the most rewarding part of your job?
Well, basically, I would say the most rewarding part of my job is to, you know, see my shoppers, because at the end of the day, it's all about them. They are the ones that are spending at Jabulani Mall, so they were earning income through them shopping. So basically, just to see the shoppers being in that environment, being happy, finding exactly what they went to buy, it's just rewarding for me.
Now, Sister Angie, do you mainly deal with the public that come and shop at the mall, or the shop owners that rent the space in your mall?
I will say that I interact with both groups, because with the tenants themselves, you know, we interact with them in terms of updating them with the trends and what we've seen in other shopping centers. And also with the public, they will come to us and we'll also do some research and find out what is it that they would like to see in Jabulani Mall, in, you know, in a shopping center, in a township. So I would say, you know, I interact with both.
Now, Sister Angie, does your job involve a lot of administration?
Yes, there is a fair amount of administration involved. For instance, we have leases in place with our tenants, so we need to make sure that all those leases are in place and all the legalities we've been complied with. And also in terms of just running the shopping centers, you know, you've got your council, you need to pay the bills, you know, you need to pay your service providers, your cleaners, your security guards. So yes, there is that admin.
Vusa, as an asset manager, who do you answer to? Do you answer to the property owners, or do you answer to the tenants who rent the space in the property?
Well, I work for the property owners, so I answer to the directors of my company, who themselves answer to the shareholders of the company. But our tenants are our clients, so we've got to keep them happy as well, because without our clients being the tenants, we don't get income.
Now, Pravuso, please describe a typical day in the workplace. Are you usually behind the desk, officini, or are you mainly on the site?
I'd say about 20% of my day is spent in the office. The other 80% is spent out on site. We have a lot of meetings with tenants. We interact a lot with our property managers. We also interact with councillors and local authorities. And so, yeah, most of my time is spent out, and we spend a lot of time looking for new opportunities as well.
Yeah. Now, Zola, you and I know what the best part of our job is, right? What is it?
This.
Meeting amazing people such as these ones. I'm asking you, so what is the best part of your job?
The best part of my job is when I go to my building and I see my building is fully lit and that it is the customers at that building are shopping. It tells me that we've bought the right building at the right place, and we're providing a service that is required by the customers.
Tenjiwe, do you need any specific qualifications to be a manager of a mall?
No, you do not need any specific qualifications, but business qualification, I think, will be nice to have. And also you just need to have that passion and drive to work with people, and just to be able and willing to deliver a good service, because our industry is all about our service. We are, the tenants are our clients, the shoppers are our clients, the owners of the building are our clients. So you are at the center here trying to basically please everybody around you. So you need to have basically that drive.
Speaking of the drive, what kind of qualities would one need to be a good property manager?
Well, you need to be very tolerant to stress. It could be stressful at times, but also you just need to be, just like I said, be willing and be a good person to provide a good service, you know. It's mainly about service.
So what is the ultimate goal? Are you happy managing a mall, or are there bigger dreams beyond this?
For now, I am definitely happy managing the shopping centers, although I would really like to manage some bigger shopping centers. One of the bigger shopping centers in South Africa, the likes of Sandton or the Gateway in Durban. But the ultimate goal is to be in Vuso's shoes, being an asset manager myself.
Now that, my sister, is a done deal.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Now, Pravu, so why is it important to get experience on the ground before becoming a full-blown asset manager with portfolios in properties?
Well, you've got to learn how to crawl before you know how to walk. Okay, so basically a large part of my job involves overseeing property managers who deal with the day-to-day running of the buildings. If you don't know what it takes for a building to be run on a day-to-day basis, how can you manage someone who's doing it on your behalf? So you've got to start somewhere.
Well, so you speak so highly about your profession and you're so excited to chat to us about it. Would you honestly recommend asset management as a career?
Definitely. It's an incredibly rewarding job. I enjoy it. I wouldn't do anything else than what I'm doing right now.
And when I say Tenji, do you enjoy your job? Because I'm going to come and ask for free stuff soon.
Well, definitely, I do enjoy my job, but unfortunately, it doesn't involve free stuff. However, if you are looking for a good service, you're welcome to come to Jabulani Mall.
Yeah, and the plus side of your job as well is that you work in a mall.
Yes.
So if ever you feel like shopping, girl, well, you can walk into any of those shops and do your thing.
Exactly. Initially, though, that was the feeling. But as you get used to the job and the environment, you learn to look for other things other than the clothing. Yes, it is part of it. You need to make sure that your tenants, they've got the good offering in terms of the clothing, shoes, and the bags and everything else.
Yes.
But also there's more to it. Just need to make sure that there are lights inside their shops. Your tiles, when you're walking the mall, they are clean, they're not cracked and things like that.
Yeah.
But yes, initially it's all about shopping, but yeah, it's more.
It's there. Now, what advice would you give to a learner watching right now who wants to do exactly what it is that you do?
Yeah, basically I'll just tell them to please go ahead, you know, because you don't need a specific qualification for this, but it really helps if you've got a business qualification or a property qualification. Other than that, you need to have the passion for the job and you should be fine.
There we go. Passion is always great. But Pravu, so what advice do you have for the learners watching right now and wanting to do what you're doing?
First, study. Maths is important, no matter what people tell you. Maths is important. Study, work hard, and yeah, have fun doing it.
Well, that was fun, eh? It felt like you were shopping and I was buying property. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After the break, we talk money, 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 money. When we look at careers in property finance. And who better than our very own Nedbank to give us the lowdown?
All of that right here on My Future, My Career, brought to you by Nedbank. You really don't want to miss it.
These days, all we want is to ensure a healthier planet for our children. And so we do what we can. We recycle, save water, and turn our lights off behind us.
However, despite our best intentions, we can't help but feel a little powerless when faced with the plight of the rhino, the consequences of overfishing, and the impact of climate change.
What if the most it took to make a big difference was something that you did anyway, like your everyday banking? The answer is the Nedbank Green Affinity account, the only account that supports green causes at no cost to you.
Open a Nedbank Green Affinity account today. Make things happen. Nedbank.
Now, before the break, we asked if a red house is made from
Red bricks.
a blue house is made from
Blue bricks.
a yellow house is made from
Duh, yellow bricks.
I think it's clever, né? What is a green house made from?
Did you get the answer right? Yes? No?
Maybe?
No? Well, I've got the answer. The answer is glass, of course. Do you get it?
I get it.
All the better to see the exotic plants inside.
Yes, and water them.
Wow.
But up next, more about the exciting world of property. Check it out. Next up, we look at careers in property finance. And to help us break it all down is Portia Muyunda, Head of Human Resources and Lending Development and Sales Manager, Pippa Streeter, both at Nedbank Corporate Property Finance.
Portia grew up in a rural area and had limited career guidance, but wanted to study and qualify for something. Her father inspired her to go into the business world. She now has a BCom Honours in Industrial Psychology, a National Diploma in Business Administration, an Advanced Management Program certification, and is a graduate of the International Executive Development Program. Portia has 13 years human resources experience in banking and financial institutions and has been Head of Human Resources and Learning Development at Nedbank since January 2011. She first joined the bank in 1998 and in 2002 won Nedbank's highest accolade, the Nedbank Top Achiever Award. Portia believes that being a hard-working and dedicated student helped open this door for her.
Now, Pippa has been with Nedbank for 24 years. After studying overseas, she joined BOE as a personal assistant, but quickly moved into product sales in the bank. Now, an extremely experienced product specialist, Pippa is the sales manager for corporate property finance at Nedbank. Her job is to manage and lead a sales team made up of property finance specialists. She actively grows the commercial and industrial property finance client base in Gauteng.
So Zola, we're joined by two powerhouses today.
Absolutely.
How awesome is that? Welcome, ladies. Welcome, Portia. Welcome, Pippa.
Thank you. Thank you, Pal. Thank you, Zola, for your generous introduction.
Nice
Only
one.
a pleasure.
Sounds like you're talking about somebody else.
It's all you, girl. It's all you.
Thank you.
All true. Now let's start with you, Portia.
Yes.
I mean, you are the head of human resources at Nedbank Corporate Property Finance.
That's correct.
What exactly is corporate property finance?
Nedbank Corporate Property Finance, we are a market leader in commercial property finance. So we provide finance to property developers and investors in retail, residential, industrial, and commercial properties. For example, if you have a developer who wants to purchase a vacant land for the purpose of developing, let's say, a shopping center or a mall, or who wants to purchase an already existing building, whether it be a factory, a warehouse, or an office block. We also have affordable housing under our business unit, Nedbank Corporate Property Finance, where we work with experienced developers in creating stock in the affordable housing sector. In addition, we also have Nedbank Property Partners, where we will do joint ventures with our clients in taking minority equity investment in property projects.
Now, Portia, working with such a large sum of money must take a lot of expertise. What sort of people would you employ in your department?
We're looking for highly energetic people, people that are very passionate about the property industry, people that are wanting to learn, to thrive, and to grow, but we're looking for high levels of energy and passion.
What types of jobs are available in corporate property finance?
We have plenty of opportunities for specialists. We need professional valuers, quantity surveyors, credit managers, finance people, marketing on the support side, as well as, last but not least, human resources and sales people.
So what exactly is your role in the division?
At a high level, I'm responsible for promoting a high-performing culture, as well as the development and upskilling of our people to ensure that their skills are optimized and they're able to achieve the goals of our business.
Pippa, you have a very important job as a sales manager. Can you tell us a bit more about what you do exactly?
By all means. As you indicated earlier, I've been there for donkey's years.
Yeah.
And have moved from a role of a general sales relationship manager into a management role, but I tend to get involved too much on the sales side. We're dealing with that. Anyway, I look after the staff. I have a fairly substantial team at Nedbank, which are composed of administration staff as well as sales staff. My sales staff come from various avenues in life. They go from actuarial science degreed staff through to individuals that come from a CA background. They don't necessarily know the market when they join my team, but that's my job, is to introduce them to the market, introduce them to the product itself, and as Portia indicated, we cover a large variety of products within the bank. Try and make money for the bank and try and make money for clients, and it's exceptionally rewarding. And I think that's part of the reason, the only reason I've been there for so long. It's exciting to see staff grow, and it's exciting to allow a client to be successful at what his intention is in the first place.
Now, you and your team work with investors, developers, asset managers, and listed companies. Can you give us examples of some of the clients that you work with?
They're exceptionally diversified. I see clients who come across Nedbank for the first time and are fairly ignorant in the property space. They come to us on the basis of having access to a piece of land, not really understanding the market. I put together a team of developers, of investors, as well as the client who owns that land, and I make the development happen. And when you go to that party, when the building is complete, and you see a development that you've been working on from literally a 3 or 4 year period come to fruition, and you see the people that you made get there or achieve their goals, it's exceptionally rewarding. And that applies to the staff member, seeing that through to fruition, as well as the client.
But what qualifications would I need to be part of your team?
Anything from a CA through to an actuary. I've got people that have been in my team that have come from totally diverse backgrounds. If you have, as Portia indicated, that passion and that fire in your belly, and you love what you do, I'm very happy to accept any kind of degree.
Now, Pippa, speaking of people joining the team, does the bank actually assist people with qualifications?
Yes, definitely. If they come in as an undergrad, we can see them through that development period. That's not an issue at all.
Portia, do financial institutions offer bursaries to learners?
Yes, absolutely. Financial institutions, they offer bursaries to matriculants that, of course, have passed and excelled. Nedbank also, we offer bursaries. We do advertise when we offer bursaries from April to September. So we do advertise in various publications for bursaries.
Now, what quality is essential in order for one to succeed in corporate property finance?
You must be very passionate about deal making, because we are in a finance institution. We are selling finances. We are selling putting together of deals. You must be very passionate about that. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of the passion of the property finance industry. You must be somebody who's very passionate about the property finance, the property sector as a whole. You must be a self-starter. You must have high levels of energy, and you must have the drive to overachieve.
Portia, are jobs only available in banks, or are there other opportunities elsewhere for people wanting to get into property finance?
For learners wanting to get into property finance, there are other non-banking institutions or entities. For example, they can go into assurance or insurance institutions, or they can go for property finance role in the listed property funds sector, or they can also find those roles within the private sector with property developers.
Now, Portia, Nedbank Corporate Property Finance has invested in establishing a Property Finance Academy. Please tell us more about that.
In 2007, Nedbank Corporate Property Finance launched the Property Finance Academy under the leadership of our Managing Executive, Frank Buckley, in response to the scarce skills in property finance. The purpose of the Academy is to advance the skills finance in property finance for our new staff joining the business, as well as our current existing staff. The program is a 12-month program, and upon completion, the graduates, they get a accredited certificate with Wits University Property Finance Studies qualification.
That is a great opportunity.
Actually, very, very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact, to date, since inception, we have graduated 228 graduates.
Wow.
That is
through
amazing.
the Nedbank Property Finance Academy. We have also won the Skills Summit Award, awarded by the FSC in 2010. So it is quite innovative way to increase and foster the learning in property finance.
I want to know how one gets to be part of the academy. What do they need to do?
You have to first be employed by us.
Okay.
So you can come work for us, and then you'll be given that opportunity to be part of the academy.
Very commendable.
Absolutely.
Well, Pippa, I'd like to know, are there, by any chance, any opportunities for entrepreneurs in this sector?
Definitely. We've seen a lot of that type of person come through the division, and they've done exceptionally well. I'm not sure in most cases if they've stayed. As I indicated, over the 24 years, we've had a lot of people moving through property finance as a team, and they've gone off after being schooled by Nedbank, so to speak, and started their own business, and now they are clients of mine. And it's nice to see that. And they were definitely entrepreneurs when they came to the division.
Now, please tell me shortly, what would a day in your work life look like?
Exceptionally exciting. A lot of outlookers look in and think it's quite chaotic. We have emergencies that we have to deal with every day in the banking environment. There are no set office hours. It's unfortunately not an 8 to 5 job. When you do those transactions and you see them through, it requires being the client's friend to a certain extent and being involved in functions after work. When you go to conferences, which is a requirement of ours, again, that's weekends or evenings. It's not a normal job, but I would recommend it to anybody who was graduating to join somebody like Nedbank, because it's not a regime that is that standard.
Yeah, sounds very exciting.
Now, this is for the both of you, but I'm going to start with you, Pippa. What advice would you give the learners watching right now and they want to join this industry?
As Portia indicated, we need to get you in the door. Irrespective of where you start in the bank, within property finance. If you have that passion and you have that capability and you have what I call fire in the belly, you will make it into a sales team, or you'll make it into an area within our division that excites you. It doesn't mean you have to stay with the bank for the rest of your life. We'd like you to. But it allows you the grounding to be exceptionally successful. It's a very good grounding for any youngster leaving varsity.
Portia, what advice do you have?
I would refer them to the SAPOA website, which stands for South African Property Owners Association, and it's a representative body of the commercial and industrial property in South Africa. They've got excellent information that will guide them. And I would also refer them to to follow industry experts. Like in property finance, we have the renowned property economist, Francois Verulli. And we have also experts associations like Roda and Associates. So I would refer them to those websites to read as much as they can in understanding the sector of property finance.
You make it all so exciting. It really is. Now I want to be part of both your teams. Portia, Pippa, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for the insight into the world of corporate property finance.
Thank you.
Thank
you for the opportunity.
Fantastic. It's amazing. The triple Ps, powerful Ps, Pearl, Pippa, and Portia.
Hello.
I'm lucky. Now, if you're not sure if you've got the nerves and the know-how for this career,
then consider this from the Fairy Godmother.
My name is Donna McCallum, and I am a fantastically fabulous and magical fairy godmother. In each of these episodes, I will be covering one of the 10 tips in more detail. And just so that you don't miss out, here are the 10 tips. Tip number 1, be authentic. Tip 2, play to your strengths. Tip 3, have fun. Do what you love and love what you do. Tip 4, it's your choice. Tip 5, learn to learn. Tip number 6 is dream big. Tip number 7, take action. Tip number 8, overcome your fears. Tip 9, build support around you. And tip 10, gratitude. Today we're looking at the second tip, playing to your strengths. What do you think this means? What it means is find out what you're good at and do what you're good at. How many of you have had this experience? You come home from school with your report and guess what? You got an A for history and you got a B for English. But you also got a D for biology and an E for accountancy. What do your parents say? They probably say that you need to work more on your biology and accountancy, right? They may even send you to extra lessons. While it's important for you to work hard and do well in all of your subjects in school, playing to your strengths is about finding out what subjects you're good at, the subjects that you're passionate about, and they're the ones that you enjoy the most. So if biology and accounting are not your thing, and clearly you're great at English and history, then concentrate on the careers where English and history are important. Don't go and do the accounting degree, even if your father wants you to do it. Go and do the English and history degree. Tiger Woods started playing golf when he was 4 years old, and his parents didn't say to him when he was 12, "Wow, Tiger, you're so good at golf, you're such a good sportsman, maybe you should also try basketball." No, he was so good at golf, so he focused on the golf, and now he's the best golfer in the world. Some of you may already know what you're good at, and some of you are still discovering what you're good at, and that's what your teens and your 20s is all about. But I'm now going to give you a quick exercise about how to reveal your strengths. The trick is that you will find your strengths in the things that you love to do, the things that you're passionate about. You know you have those times when you're doing something and time just seems to disappear. Do you know what I mean? When you do these things, your soul lights up. So on a sheet of paper, I'd like you to write down this heading. The heading is, "My soul lights up when I." Now spend 10 minutes writing down all the things that you can think of that make your soul light up. And in this list are your strengths.
let's give our brain some exercise with this teaser.
Listen very carefully, right? Mrs. Pink lived in a pink one-story house on Pink Street. The walls were pink, the roof was pink, the carpet was pink, the furniture was pink.
Hey, even her cat was pink. Everything was pink. So what color were the stairs in Mrs. Pink's house?
Is this a trick question, Zola?
I don't know, Pinky, tell me.
You said everything was pink. Think about it. The answer's coming up after this. Our next guests are two of the most respected women in property sales. Please welcome Joan Goldswain and Matsileng Mokhodi.
Joan Goldswain has been a commercial property broker for 23 years. She is actively involved in the South African Property Owners Association and now spends a lot of her time promoting and giving back to the industry.
Matsileng Mokhodi was a high school teacher before entering the property market. She began as an estate agent but quickly progressed in her field. She then started and ran Snooks Estates, co-founded and chaired the Black Estate Agents Forum of South Africa.
Now, I have to say, you two are very inspirational women. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joan, I'd like to start with you. What exactly does a property broker do?
Property broker is similar to an estate agent, but operates in the commercial property industry. In other words, we're talking offices, shops, anywhere from which you do business. It's actually putting together a buyer and a seller and getting the deal concluded. Obviously, it's more involved than that, but yes.
Now, do you strictly deal with the people that want to buy or sell buildings, or do you also deal with people that also want to rent buildings?
Absolutely. We deal with people who want to rent, lease properties, offices, shops, whatever you wish in the commercial field.
So how does a property broker then make money out of these deals?
Property broking is usually works on commission basis only. So you have to conclude a deal in order to get paid. Very often you can work on a deal for a while, it falls apart, and very often there are very simple deals to be done in the market. But yes, it is commission based, and that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's a good old saying from Gary Player.
Yeah.
And yes, and you can, at the end of the month, hopefully write your own check.
Now, it sounds like you have to have some really good networking skills. What other abilities would a good property broker need to have?
Okay, yes, networking is very important. In fact, in commercial property, you can retain your same clients for years and years and years. It's not like they buy something and move on. They are either investors in the property market, in which case you're going to be meeting them a lot, and leases. If they expire after 3 or 5 years, if you've given them a good deal or you've worked well with them, they're bound to come back to you. So yes, networking is important with both landlords and with your buyers or your lessees, your tenants.
Now, Matsileng, you are in residential real estate, but before this you were a school teacher.
Yes.
Why the change? Hukum?
Okay, I've always been somebody that wants a bigger challenge. So I went into teaching. I did that for several years. But during that time, I decided it was time to do something else that will push me to another limit. But in so saying, being a teacher, you don't just stop being a teacher, you continue, because right now in real estate, that's exactly what I'm doing. I teach new people coming into the industry.
Oh, but now the transition from being a school teacher to being in real estate, how difficult was that? Was it a difficult journey at all?
Yes and no. But like I said, when you are looking for another challenge, you have to take risks and you have to be prepared for the unknown. Yeah. So for me, it was difficult in a sense that I was not going to get a stable income from a teacher's salary, but I was looking forward to a new adventure in my life.
So you deal mainly with residential homes. What does a day in your work life look like?
Okay, I think let me separate that into two. Being a principal of an estate agency, I've got to provide guidance, direction, and help all the agents who plan their days. So as an estate agent, you don't just wake up and say, today I decide I'm going to do a presentation, I'm going to do flyers. You've got to have a monthly plan. And within that monthly plan, have a weekly plan to say, next week, on Monday, this is what I want to do. On Tuesdays, this is what I want to do. But as an estate agent, you do flyer drops, because remember, in our business, you want to touch people. That is how you get your clients. You have to touch people. You have to brand yourself within the bigger organization. So you go out there, you do door knocks, even if there's technology, but you still have to touch people. Go out, do gazebos, do farming, see people, meet people, talk to people. And that is how they get to know you and they get to trust you. And then they can sell through you, because without touching people, without touching them and actually speaking to them, they won't come to you to take them through to view a house. Because for an estate agent, for you to earn an income, you've got to take clients out to view, you've got to go out and see properties. So if you don't go out, you will not have business.
So basically, if you're shy and antisocial, this job is not for you. Definitely not for you. But how does one become an estate agent?
Do you need qualifications?
Yeah.
it is very important. The Estate Agency Affairs Board has brought in, it is compulsory now for people to actually study through the NQF4 level 4s and 5s. So people have to undergo training. And fortunately for us, for our young people, we have the services SETA that is providing bursaries for those new interns, new estate agents coming into the estate agency arena. So it is very important that you come with your matric or from high school, you learn as much as possible, because what we are seeing now is the services SETA gives people bursaries, or other people are lucky enough to get bursaries from other people. They come into the industry, but they don't really benefit out of it because they saw somebody doing it and they felt, I want to also do it. So if you don't prepare yourself, you don't learn from high school, you don't have time to learn when you are now in the services SETA, because they will provide you with the theory, we give you the practical. So if you haven't prepared and learned the general concepts from matric, then it's going to be very difficult for you.
True that. Now, it sounds like you offer a very personal service. So what kind of qualities would one need in order to succeed as a good agent?
For me, the biggest one would be great communication skills, because even if you can have a degree, you can have all these papers, if you can't relate to people, if you can't communicate, if you can't humble yourself and be able to speak with people, you will not succeed. And on top of that, you've got to be a hard worker. You know, we believe in positive thinking and easy things. There is nothing easy in this life. You have to work hard. So as an estate agent, you work hard, like Joan was saying. You work hard, and then you earn. You decide what you want to earn. So if you don't work, you don't achieve, you don't get anything. But if you work hard, definitely you'll fly.
Nice. Now, Joan, Matileng mentioned that unlike before, people now actually need to be qualified to be estate agents. Do people also need qualifications to be property brokers?
Absolutely, yes, we do need qualifications. We are regarded as estate agents, according to the Estate Agents Affairs Board. Therefore, we fall under the Estate Agents Affairs Act. And like residential agents, we do need these qualifications.
I mean, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving shelter to people, but of course, we need to get to the legal side of things. How important is it to understand it?
The legal side?
Yeah.
Yes. You do need some knowledge. That also comes under your qualification, the studies. It is part of the curriculum. There are a lot of acts in this country that refer to property and are directly for property. So, but you learn that along the way, and I don't think any broker is going to be left out there on their own. They're all going to have mentors, and they're all going to learn. And, you know, if you're open to learning, you're going to do good.
So, Joan, you bring a buyer and a seller together. So it's the three of you now. Do you not perhaps maybe need a fourth person like an attorney to close off a deal?
Yes, that very often does happen, particularly in commercial property, because remember, the deals we are doing are normally very big deals. A commercial building is a very big building to buy. And yes, we do recommend, and obviously for the transfer of the property, there is the conveyancing attorney. Now, that is absolutely necessary in all sales, and I'm talking houses as well. But yes, a conveyancing attorney particularly, but a corporate attorney would probably help with the contract in the first place.
Now, what is the most important aspect of your job?
My job, yes, everything. I would say you have to, the ideal, of course, is to walk away from something at the end of the deal with three happy parties, the buyer, the seller, and the broker.
Yes.
That's ideal. But what is most important is to ensure that the people you work with trust you, because this means they're going to come back again. And that's where we really are today, is repeat business.
Joan, do you have to work with established brokerages, or can you go at it alone?
You can, of course, go it alone, but I would always suggest that you spend many years with an established brokerage, because that's where you're going to get your mentoring. That's where you're going to get your experience, because remember, you know, not every deal works out. You also need someone around to pick up the pieces if something falls apart. Would you agree with that?
Definitely.
Yes. Anyway, Look, to go it alone, you're never alone because you always have other brokers that you know of who work particular areas or particular disciplines, and you work with them. But yes, you can go it alone, not in the beginning though. Please don't try.
Please don't try this at all.
Now, is being a property broker a good career choice? I mean, you look and sound like you enjoy what you do.
It's
and clearly you've
wonderful.
made the right choice.
It's wonderful. That's why I'm actually here, because I want to give back to the industry what is given to me over the many years. And yeah, you work your own hours. Sometimes they're longer than office hours. Sometimes they're shorter. You won't see brokers sitting in a movie house in the afternoon like you used to. But yes, we work hard. We work very hard. You know, it's like a farmer. You have to go out there and you have to farm your property. You have to know every little tree and bush and stone on that property. And that's what you have to do. But nobody's standing behind you with a whip and saying, where are those stones? You should know.
Now, Matseleng, for you, being a real estate agent, is it a rewarding job for you? I mean, how do you feel when you know you've placed a good family in a good home?
It is most fulfilling. Remember, especially with your first sale, right? Because it's a new experience and you've sold this property, you're handing over the keys, you can't describe that feeling because you're doing something for people that are valuing what they've just invested in and you have made it happen.
Now, I always see those for sale signs on the road when I'm driving. So does this mean you have to spend every Sunday at a show house? What's it like spending a whole afternoon at somebody's house?
In our case, especially in the affordable market, we don't necessarily do the show houses because, you know, like it's in the townships mainly, and we don't necessarily go in and sit the whole afternoon on a Sunday. But it's very valuable. Like in the southern suburbs and other areas, it's very valuable to sit in a house because it's an opportunity for people to come in. Remember, you want to sell this house. So you've got to avail yourself. And as an estate agent, you don't have working hours. Hey? So that is why it's paramount that you have to plan. So you plan your day, you plan your week. You know that you'll be sitting the whole afternoon. So you do other things at another time. Yes.
I mean, after selling that house, you need to get paid. So how does an estate agent get paid?
An estate agent will get paid through commission. It's commission-based. And usually it's after a period of about 3 months. And it's a percentage of the purchase price. So right now it could be 8%, but remember, again, you deal with a client and you negotiate those percentages, you negotiate the commission, but an estate agent only earns through commission. That is why it is important to work harder to determine your income.
Yeah. Now, sometimes it happens that, you know, the for sale sign that I see, I drive past it on Sunday, next Sunday, boom, for sale sign is still there. Another Sunday, boom, still there. So how long does it take to actually sell a house?
It can take 1 day to 6 months to it depends mainly on the market, the demand and supply. It depends on the property price. It depends on many other factors. So you can see a house today, you can get a house before you even list it, it could be sold. Because remember, you've got that database of clients. And as soon as you get a mandate or you get a house that is being sold, you just look at your list and say, oh, I've got a person for this property.
So Matseleng, what advice do you have for learners watching right now who are now inspired to do exactly what it is that you do?
I think what is very important right now is everybody has to look within themselves because we can't all be estate agents, right? We can't all do the same thing. So everybody has to find what they are good at. You can't say, okay, now I also want to be an estate agent because there's a stipend. I want to be an estate agent because Matseleng is an estate agent. So you've got to find your own talent, realize that there is something that you're good at. And if it's property, if it is real estate, then pursue it, but have an interest in it. There's no point in being an estate agent, but you don't read about the property, you don't know what the interest rate is, you don't know what is happening, you don't know who are the other estate agents in your area. So you've got to have that interest because as soon as you don't have that interest to know what is happening within your office, outside your office, in your area, then it's not for you. You've got to drive yourself, you've got to work hard, you've got to want to know, then you will succeed.
Now, how about you, Joan? What advice would you have for the learners watching right now who want to do exactly what you're doing?
Right. I have to agree with everything that's been said. I do agree with that. I just want to add to this and say that property in the past has never been a real consideration as a career. Whereas now, you look around you, there's buildings popping up. You can drive down a road today and come back 2 weeks later, and there's a building coming out of the ground. And that's how exciting the industry is today. It really is exciting. Plus, it's a springboard. A broker can very happily be a springboard into different other careers, property development, asset management. There are so many different choices once you're in the property game. And having the basics of being a broker, it means you've seen the buyer side, the seller side, you've seen everything happening around you. So it's a very good base.
Thank you very much, ladies. What an amazing industry and a great option for our learners watching right now.
Yep.
But before we let you go, we have got a very interesting brain teaser that we'd like you to answer. What's the brain teaser,
Yes,
Zola?
we do, Pearl. It goes like this. Mrs. Pink lived in a pink one-story house on Pink Street.
Yeah.
The walls were pink, the roof was pink, the carpet was pink, the furniture was pink, the bathroom was pink, even her cat was pink. Everything was pink. So what color were the stairs in Mrs. Pink's house?
So everything is pink. What color were the stairs?
No stairs.
Why do you say that? Because
single-story house.
High five!
There we go.
Matsiling, you said pink stairs. No. It's a one-story house. It does not have stairs, girl.
We've got a basement.
Well, if you look at it like that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now with this, you get the whole 9 yards. All of the ding, 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 and that's the whistle. Oh hey, what he's not telling you is you'll get a gold check card with unlimited swipes, free internet banking, electronic transactions, and debit orders. As you were. I hear you asking about that kitchen sink. Of course, man, you get that too. In fact, you get the whole enchilada. Thanks. Hang on there, Eugene, I'm gonna let you finish in 1 second. Because you get a year's free membership to Nedbank Greenbacks rewards that you can use to get cool stuff online or in store. Now that's what I call the whole enchilada. Hey, Eugene? That's me and you, together.
Get Nedbank savvy today. Visit nedbank.co.za or any Nedbank. Make things happen.
Make sure that we take it to the top. The property game can be an exciting career for anyone, but it can be tricky, so it is important to be well prepared. Now here to give us some insight about educating yourself in property are two experts, Dr. Samuel Azasu and Ms. Ntokozo Zoni.
Dr. Samuel Azasu has a PhD in real estate management and Master of Science degrees in water resource management and real estate management. He's currently working on the property studies program at Wits University, but has also worked at academic institutions in Sweden, Dubai, and Ghana.
Ntokozo Zoni is a chamber manager for the services sector for Education and Training Authority. She has 6 years of experience in real estate and is responsible for developing and planning strategies to advance the skills of stakeholders working in the property industry.
Oh, so after all of that, I feel educated already.
I feel like planning our new house.
Really? You're going to buy me a house? Oh, you're going to buy me a house?
I might just.
Ntokozo and Dr. Samuel, welcome. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Thank you very much. Dr. Samuel, you've got several degrees in real estate management. What exactly is real estate management?
Well, real estate basically can be seen as an asset class or a business and an industry. As an asset class, you're looking at land and buildings. Buildings like your typical home, apartment buildings, offices, the neighborhood shopping center, or the big malls. You're looking at hotels, golf courses, and the churches and the sports stadium. Now, as a business, you're looking at the people who invest in it, the people who manage it. You're looking at the banks that finance it, the insurance companies, and the pension funds that invest in it. And also you have foreign investors, not just South African investors, who make up the real estate industry. So the real estate industry can also be transnational in that sense.
Now, please tell us about some of the property courses that are offered by Wits.
Well, over the last 12 months, I've had a chance to reorganize property studies in WITS. The basic idea behind our property studies program now is to make sure that WITS creates a property studies program that is competitive to some of the best programs around the world, allowing, for example, a child from Soweto to have education that is of the same quality as the education he will get, say, in Atlanta, Georgia, or in London. We basically have a 4-year degree program that focuses on property. But what we did was to try to integrate the key knowledge areas in the property business with the professional skills that the average student would need. Industry people have told us that it takes on average 2 years after graduation for the students to be able to work independently. Now, the way we've designed this program is to ensure that students are able to work within the shortest possible time. Because if you don't have that situation, a 4-year degree ends up becoming a 6-year degree because he has to work an extra 2 years on the job to be able to be allowed to work independently. So what we're doing in WITS is to ensure that after the 4 years, you're able to do some things, even if with minimum supervision.
So do other universities offer similar courses to you?
There's a number of property programs in the country. UCT has a property program. University of Johannesburg has an evaluation program. And the University of the Free State has a program in facilities management. What makes ours unique is that we try to provide a comprehensive training that allows the students to play roles in all the major business areas inside the property industry. So in that respect, we're a little bit unique. The other reason why WITS probably is also unique is because we recognize this is a country that has massive graduate unemployment problems. As a result of that, we've tried to integrate entrepreneurship training and leadership training into our programs because we are hoping that some of our graduates would set up their own small practices and hopefully employ others as well.
Absolutely. Now, what kind of thing would a student learn while studying towards their degree?
Yeah, and how would it help build their career?
Well, let's start from the end and then work it backwards. Our starting point is to see what are some of the key business areas a student would want to enter on graduation. Would want to send some of them to the property sections of the banks where they would be the ones who determine, for example, if you qualify to get a home loan or if that big project somewhere in Sandton is worth financing. We also expect that some of them will work for developers or they work for the people who, for example, manage Sandton Mall. As a result of that, in the 4th year of your studies, you're basically doing things around the practice areas that enable you to hit the ground running. Now, what we then do is then make sure we work into that the things that they need to do to be able to work in these practice areas in the 4th year. So, for example, you study how to analyze real estate markets, whether it is a residential market or commercial market. So, for example, you should be in a position to advise a prospective developer if there is people out there who need homes and have the income and can afford these homes before the first dollar is invested in the project. Because one of the things you would notice is that the global financial crisis we had has a strong property component. A lot of investments were made without these kinds of analysis. So one of the things we can do for ourselves is to enable South African professionals develop these competencies to make sure we don't go down the path of, say, Spain or Ireland or the United States. So you would do things like property market analysis. But behind that is a string of very strong quantitative courses in mathematics and statistics and econometrics. Inside these things also, we plan to help the students learn how to do financial models in Excel that allow them to make decisions that would be able to tell whoever they work for if certain investments are profitable or if they're not before the investment takes place.
Now, if a learner wants to get into university, what subjects should they be studying in high school?
Well, let me start by saying that the one thing you don't want to do is mathematical literacy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So pure maths all the way?
You have to do pure math because the real estate business requires very strong quantitative skills. And so you need very high grades in mathematics and in the English language. And as far as we're concerned, those are the key competencies you need. For the rest, you just need very high grades in your ordinary matric level course.
Now, for someone who's interested in getting into property, what kind of qualities should they have?
Well, first of all, we need you to be curious. We need you to have a flair for quantitative analysis, but also some qualitative analysis, because when you have to value a property, for example, a house or a shopping center, it's not just numbers, but also you have to look at the quality of the environment. So you need to have a flair for both quantitative and qualitative analysis. But at the same time, you have to remember that in the property sector, it is people who use these buildings. So you need to be able to visualize how the decisions you make affect people. And you also have to remember that a lot of money goes into property. And if you make mistakes on that, you hurt a lot of people. As a result of that, you need to have a sense that this is, first and foremost, a business for many people. So you need to have some kind of enterprise context to this. In addition to that, you need to be somebody who gets along with others, because most of the teams, most of the business is organized around teams.
Now, coming to you, Nontokozo, does one need to go to a university to get into property, or are there other avenues that they can access?
Luckily, with what we do at the Service Isita, there are other avenues that have been created for youngsters to actually enter the property industry. We do offer a range of programs that young people can actually access the property industry in a quicker form.
Now, you are the Services Isita manager. What exactly do you do?
Basically, I'm involved with the Real Estate and Related Services Chamber. Our work in the chambers actually varies. I will talk about when a graduate, Samuel had alluded to earlier on, when a graduate finishes his BSc in property studies, for example, they're ready to enter the world of work. Now, what we basically do from our side is that we expose the graduate to opportunities of internships. Now, we fund those internship programs. Sometimes we work closely with companies to allow graduates to enter the world of work much more quicker. There's a range of other things that we deal with. For example, designing occupationally based qualifications for young people to enter the industry, not using the university stream, but using what we call a private provider stream or an occupationally based qualification stream that will allow the young person to actually take about a year before they're ready to enter the industry.
Why would you say training is important in order for the industry to grow?
Training becomes very important to say we need to recognize a skill a person has in order to enhance it, in order to enhance productivity in the workplace, in order to enhance the competitiveness of us as a country in terms of the sectors that we are dealing with.
What kind of programs do you exactly run?
We are the quality assurance body. We are not a training provider. We accredit training providers to do the training on our behalf. So providers will come for accreditation with us, and once they've got accreditation, they'll then be eligible to run our programs. Now, within the Real Estate Chamber, the programs that we have, we've got about 5 different programs, and they can lead to different occupations. Now, I'll start with the NQF Level 4 in real estate, where you can in completing that program, you can become an estate agent, you can become a property broker. There's various occupations you can become. You can become a letting manager, you can become a rental agent. Should you feel that you want to be a business owner, for example, like a Pam Golding, you then can enter into a program called the NQF Level 5 in real estate. The NQF Level 5 in real estate is also a very short program, but it will give you the business skills that you require for you to start your own business. Once you've completed this, you are ready and actually ready to be a business owner. Then, if you want to play in another different dynamics where you want to be in the commercial side of property, the commercial property, you can enter into the Facilities and Commercial Management program at NQF Level 4. It is also a 12-month program, and it actually allows you entry into the property in a quicker way. Lastly, when we have, unless you are one of those vibrant people who likes speaking, who likes dealing with different crowds, then we will always say, why don't you become a property auctioneer and enter into the NQF level 4 in auctioning practices, which allow you to become a property auctioneer, obviously adhering to the requirements of the State Agency Affairs Board, as it is a regulated sector and you need to be registered.
Mm-hmm. Now, how does one get involved in these programs?
Well, you can contact the services SETA. I can give you guys a website, www.servicesseta.org.za, for more information. We always say to people, you can approach companies directly for opportunities within companies, because companies will know that because these programs are occupationally directed, we always advise for you to be with the company when you enter, so that you can get the workplace experience that you require. Our programs are for 12 months, and you do require workplace in the 12 months period for you to graduate. So it does become essentially important that one works with an industry experts while they're in the industry.
And do companies offer learnerships in property?
Yes, some companies do offer learnerships. However, they normally offer learnerships in line with what we offer, in line with our funding period. Some companies, we've seen that with the new property charter, companies have been encouraged to actually take on more learners on learnerships, to encourage learners to come into the companies and get workplace experience while they're there.
Now, this next question is for the both of you, but I'm going to hit it straight to you, Samuel. I mean, the property sector, is it quite big? Is there lots of opportunities, or is it quite hard to break in?
If you have the relevant skills, it's relatively easy to get in because it is still one of the sectors in the country where there is a relative shortage of skills. So taking a degree or taking advantage of the kinds of training programs that they supervise are some of the alternative ways of getting in. My take on this is that if you're highly trained, you're highly adventurous, you're good at what you do, the property sector is one of the places you need to check.
Nontokozo, what would you say about that?
I tend to agree with Samuel. However, you need to prove yourself in the property industry. Your image, your background plays a role in what you do. How you articulate yourself also becomes a factor in you going forward. So it's very important that a learner bears in mind that the way they communicate needs to change. The way they articulate themselves needs to change when they are in the industry. However, this industry has a lot of financial benefits once you are in it. So we strongly advise young people that should they be interested in, they should actually start tackling those barriers and entering this industry.
Nice one. Now, what advice would you have for learners watching right now who want to get into your industry?
I think my personal advice would be do research about the industry. First, find who you are and find where you can fit into this industry. We've spoken about the various qualifications. We've spoken about the various pathways that you can enter, but the ultimate decision lies with yourself and how you're going to actually prepare yourself towards this industry should you be interested.
Thank you so much for sharing about your industries. I know I certainly learned a lot, and I know if someone is watching right now and they want to get into property, they've got a clearer picture of what it's all about and whether they do actually want to get into it or not. So thank you, Nontokozo and Dr. Samuel.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And finally, to complete our broadcast, we're joined by Thabile Adams, who's here from the University of Johannesburg Psychological Services and Career Development Department. Now, Thabile will run through some tools on how to choose the right career.
Now, this week, Thabile will be dealing with the world of work and how the work environment impacts on the choices you make for your career. So here's Thabile.
What is the world of work? The world of work is a world That's also known as the marketplace. It's a world in which we get to match who we are, interests, abilities, values, personality with what we do. It's a world in which we spend most of our productive hours in our lives. It's a world in which we enter from the age of 16, 18 until the age of 65. What is a job? A job is a piece of work, either mental or physical, that is done as part of one's occupation for an agreed price. It is a post of employment and can be full-time, part-time position, or a contract. What is a career? A career is a person's progression or general course of action through life or through a phase of life, as in some profession or undertaking. An occupation or profession, often requiring special training, followed as one's life work. If we simplified these two definitions, we could say that work is any form of mental or physical exertion towards an expected outcome. A job is a piece of work for which one is paid or has a contract, and a career is a series of jobs which indicates progression and growth through one's lifetime. Did you know? The world of work has changed over the past 10 years due to internationalization, technology, changing structures of organizations, and cultural diversity in the workplace. What are the requirements to get into the world of work? Depending on what you want to do and how quickly you want to do it, you may need specific requirements for some careers and at times not. Currently, the most minimum requirement is a grade 12 certificate. In some cases, a trade certificate, for example, an electrical trade certificate or boilermaker certificate. In some cases, for a medical degree, if you want to pursue a career as a doctor or an engineer, you will need an engineering degree, and so on and so forth. There are some cases which you do not require educational qualifications, and in this case, training can occur on the job. What type of work can one do? There are endless types of careers, and they can be grouped in various ways. Let's look at a few. There's natural resources, construction, finance, health services, educational services, physical sciences, the arts and culture, entertainment, recreation and sports, and finally, hospitality. Obviously, there's a whole lot more which are not mentioned. There are many different work opportunities. Here are a few. Learnership. In a learnership, you learn as you earn. They combine theory and practice, which culminates in a recognized qualification within a specific field. The sector education and training authorities are responsible for learnerships, and the training is intended to prepare you for employment or self-employment. Volunteering. This is working without any form of payment. One benefits greatly from volunteering because you gain experience while empowering communities, and it may lead to many opportunities. Entrepreneurship. This is where you create your own opportunities and build a business. Entrepreneurs are people who are comfortable with uncertainty, taking risks, and are courageous. Low-paying service sector work. This is jobs such as cleaners, plastic packers, and construction workers. And finally, the other opportunity is high-skilled professional jobs. These require high education and training. For example, engineers, psychologists, scientists, and so on and so forth. So, what does this mean for me as I prepare to enter the world of work? You need to understand there's lots of competition in the workplace, and you need to use all the skills which you have acquired throughout your lifetime. No one has a crystal ball to tell you what to do and how to do it, so you should take ownership for your own career choice process. This involves self-insight, researching, planning, goal setting, and reflecting. It's also important to consider all options and be flexible in order to achieve your career goals. How do I become employed? Once you've chosen a type of career, you need to start applying for work. Normally, this follows a process of looking for vacancies, applying by sending a covering letter and a CV, attending interviews, negotiating, and signing the contract. However, many people become employed through networking. Networking is a process of building relationships with people and exploring how you can benefit one another. Sometimes this leads to a person becoming employed by the other within the organization they work. How do I do job research? There are 4 kinds of ways: paper, PC, people, and participation. Paper involves printed information, which you can get from the libraries, career centers, or bookstores, or newspapers. The PC, this is doing your research through the internet or online recruitment sites. People, this involves networking. And participation involves you going to the company to do job shadowing, as well as volunteering in that company to discover, is this really what I want to do? How do I know if a job is right for me? Searching, gathering information may not be glamorous, and it takes effort. But really, it's the best way to know what's best for you. When you make your final decision on your dream job, you will also know the reasons why this is the best job for you. Rather than assumptions based on your imagination, you'll have a solid reason why this is the best career for you in your field at this time. Often people talk about work ethics. What do they mean by this? Work ethics is belief in the moral benefit and importance of work, and it's an inherent ability to strengthen character. Employers expect their employees to have a good work ethic and be committed to the importance of the job. Poor work ethics is when one does not care about doing a job well because they do not value the importance of the outcome. How do we know what work will be meaningful to us? In order for us to feel work is important to us and strengthen our character, we need to possess self-insight and the ability to reflect. Self-insight assists us in making the right career choice. If we are to make a good choice, we are likely to find work fun, meaningful, and fulfilling. The ability to reflect enables one to continually evaluate and carefully consider our actions or our work so that we can begin to understand what gives us meaning in life, what we enjoy doing, and what we are good at. By reflecting, we can make good estimations of what will make us happy in the future. I hope this has helped you to understand the world of work a little better. Good luck in making the right career choice.
Keep it moving, make sure that we take it to the top.
I'm certain that the information and tools that you have received today will make a positive difference to your future and your career. As you sit here today, your most valuable asset by far is your future earning stream, and that is your choice. My final advice to you is to use this information to the best of your ability. Go out there and ask questions, contact the appropriate people, investigate your options, and never give up. You are the master of your own destiny. Like Nedbank, you too can make things happen.
Oh, wow, Pearl.
Oh, wow, Zola.
After that amazing episode, I'm thinking of packing in my acting career and going into property.
Zola, you're a pretty good actor.
Of course I am.
And I know for a fact you'd be amazing in property as well. I mean, you are the Zash man. Anything you do, you accomplish. Exactly. And you can accomplish that as well because there is a fortune of opportunity in property. And if you think you've got what it takes, go out there and investigate your options.
Tell them, bro, now with so much to choose from, the world really is your oyster.
And get this, I'm the pearl in your oyster.
Of course you are.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can build a brighter future for yourself.
Definitely. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please speak to your educator to find out about the other topics. And don't forget to register.
Yep. Thank you so much for joining us today. You have been amazing.
Yes, of course.
Now, Pearl.
Yes.
How's about you come with me as I go build you that dream castle you've always dreamed of?
Really?
Yes.
So I'm finally getting my castle?
Yes.
What do you want, Sola?
Must be the reason why I'm king of this castle.
What do you want, Sola?
I want them to have a brighter future.
Bye.
Yeah. We got to keep it moving. We got to keep it hot. We got to keep it moving. Make sure that we take it to the top. We got to keep it moving. We got to never stop. We got to keep it moving. Make sure that we take it to the top. Wake up every morning doing jumping jacks and go anywhere that the function's at. I'll be there, so prepared, ready for the fight, so don't be scared. Took a lot of heart and a whole lot of practice. No more sitting back, laying back on the mattress. On the attack, fire like matches. Y'all spectators, leave that for the masses. We real players, the game not nice. Everybody won't have the famous life. You don't have stamina, I must damage it. Do something good and smile for the camera. Trying to win this, you know what we doing. A championship is what we pursuing. You step in the sky. We got to keep it moving. We got to keep it high. We got to keep it moving. Make to the top.